Hi, we're back in this war of mine again today. Now, I did a playthrough with these two about 3 years ago, but I skipped loot runs, so I've been meaning to repeat it and include the loot runs, so here it is. Now, we've got Roman and Katia, and Roman is good in combat, and what that means is that if you send him out into the field, he can do things that some of the other characters can't do because of his strength. He can backstab and a few other things. But also, he's good at guarding the house. What I mean by that is he gets extra defense points, and that him guarding the house, he's stronger or adds more defense to the household than any other character. And you could probably think of him as good as two other characters just by himself. Now, Katya, she's good at trading. What that means is she gets a discount on things she buys, and she gets better prices for things she sells. So it's quite a strong team, but there's just the two of them. Now, Roman has a backpack of 10, and she has a backpack of 12, so naturally we would send her out raiding every night, unless we're going into a heavy combat situation because of the extra 2 pockets that she's got. And Roman, because of his strength in guarding the house, he stays at home. So, let's get going. So we got this house, so what we're going to do with Roman, okay, Roman's wounded. I'm going to get him digging this pile here because we want access to these 2 piles outside, so you have to dig through here or here. And you want to dig through here because we're going to want to board up that window. There's a window here to be boarded up, and that pile needs to be cleared. Okay, Katya, we're going to run around and pick up these loose piles here while he's doing the digging. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the middle there. And as you can see, there are a bunch of piles up here that we need to dig through as well. And also a bunch of locked doors, which we either need lockpicks for or a crowbar. And we're not going to use lockpicks on them because we're going to make a crowbar pretty soon. Which is pretty much the first step in every playthrough, I think. Get a metal desk up and make a crowbar. But it certainly is the play in this one. Alright, all the piles picked up, so let's get her down. And metal desk right there. So let's get her making that. So meantime, Roman could start to pick these 2 up. Okay, so we did not pick up a bandage yet. So I'm guessing the bandage is going to be in one of the corners. So she's finished. So I'm going to get her to make the crowbar, which is here. So you always have enough materials to do this. And then we're going to get him down here. Because it's not going to take her long with the crowbar, and then he can open up this. So we're going to find 2 bandages in the house, and they're always in the corners. Here, 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 or here. So it's quite likely there's one here. Okay, meantime we will get her making a bed. So every night Roman will be guarding the house. And she'll be out looting. So they'll both be tired in the morning. So one will sleep during the morning and one will sleep during the afternoon. And there's the bandage. Okay, let's get Roman bandaged up. You can skip this step and just take a gamble that he will get better over time, but it's a very risky one because the next step down from wounded is severely wounded. And once you get into the severely wounded, it gets quite nasty because it can impact morale. So let's get her digging down here. Let's get him upstairs. So that's pretty much it as far as what we wanted to do today. We wanted the metal desk, and we wanted a bed in place. So he can start digging there. But one thing we can have a look at is I think we should have the mats to upgrade this, which we would do if we can. Yes, we can. Because we need the upgrade on this desk to start boarding up the windows. Because attacks in this scenario can be on night 1, and they get worse over time. So what happens is if the attacks are stronger than your base defense, then one of two things can happen. You get somebody wounded, or you lose something from the house. They take something, and it's usually something valuable like food, which you really don't want to lose. So we want to get these guys in as soon as we can, and that is the boards to board up the windows. Now, as you can see, we're 15 wood short and 2 components short of, 4 components. If we want to get 2 in, then we're going to need another 15 wood and another 4 components. So that's kind of going to be our priority tonight. It's not strictly necessary because with Roman in the house, as mentioned, you get extra defense points. So although the attacks get stronger over time, it takes a while before the attacks get stronger than his defense. Especially if he has a weapon. And the good thing about the crowbar is it counts as a weapon. Another good reason to make the crowbar, because now we don't have to waste lockpicks on opening these doors. Because we will need the lockpicks for some of the POIs later on. And they're not that expensive to make, but they do take resources that we would rather not spend on lockpicks. We aren't going to get through the house today, but that's not important. Day is going to end at 8 p.m. So we've got a couple of hours. And it's 14 degrees. So what that is telling us is that winter is on its way, because the cutoff is 15 degrees. And you always get a winter period. Now at 15 degrees, anybody can get sick anytime in the game, but it's minimal chance if the temperature is 15 or above. So 15 is kind of the cutoff. If it's below 15 degrees C, not sure what the Fahrenheit is there, but if it's below 15 degrees C, then the chances of getting sick are higher. So as it gets colder and colder, the chance of getting sick increases. So in a perfect world, you want to keep it at 15 or above. So that's telling us we want to be getting a heater in. Probably sooner rather than later. So 8 p.m, the day is almost coming to a close. So what do we got? We can check our things. This is everything we picked up. So we got a diamond. So depending on the map, if we get the port exit, we're going to need 8 of those. So 7 to go. Well, we'll see which map we get. So this is it, pretty much the end of the day. They can finish that tomorrow. Alright, the night. And this is our map. Okay. Well, firstly, she's going to scavenge. And he's going to guard. I think we are liable to get raided on night 1, but not guaranteed. Now, Quiet House, that is quite overpowered in a way. We have to go there and steal. And if we do that, we have to rob this old couple. So she'll get back sad. One other advantage with Roman is he's quite robust, and that he doesn't get sad very easily. So if she goes and steals there, he'll be fine, but she'll get back sad. We've got the Ruined Villa, which is a sneaky one, which is not my favorite one. It's quite nervy going there, but I think we'll have to do that sooner or later, probably sooner. And we've got the Abandoned Cottage. This is a safe site. There's nobody there, and we can run around and get what we want. Now, as we saw, we need 15 wood and we need 4 components if we want to get 2 boards in, which is probably a good idea. So let's go there and prepare. Now, the Abandoned Cottage does have 2 places which we need to unlock. So we could take the 2 lockpicks. The advantage of doing that is that we then have full access to all 12 pockets, or we could take the crowbar. If we do that, we can bring the crowbar back, and we've still got the lockpicks. Disadvantage there being that we then only have 11 pockets to pick things up. And the further disadvantage being that Roman doesn't have this in the house as a weapon if we get raided tonight. But Roman's strength in defending the house is probably good enough even without a weapon, especially on the first night. The raids get stronger over time, and the early raids are pretty weak, so we should be fine. So let's go there. So first thing we want to do with any POI is start picking things up. I often see people going through this deciding what to take, and that's pretty inefficient, I think, because you often end up not having full stacks and or taking the wrong things. You just want to be grabbing everything at this stage. So we're full. We still have 3 piles down here. So what I'm going to do is just going to dump everything into the fridge here, and then we can decide at the end of the night what we want to do. So right mouse click just moves it all. So starting upstairs, now you want to read this clue here. A lot of the clues in the game don't do anything, but this one does. It opens a stash. You can't see it from there, but it opens a little stash there. So here's one of the lockpick and or crowbar bits. And then same thing, just pick up all the piles and move it into the fridge. And we'll decide at the end of the night what we want to take. So we've got until 5 p.m. and what happens at 5 p.m. Sorry, 5 a.m. What happens at 5 a.m. is that's the end of the night, and if you haven't left the POI by then you get this message that she's been caught outside. So what I'm going to do is just run around, pick up all the piles that we saw. We need to unblock this door here. So you can see all these loose piles here. Now we did read this clue up here, and what that did is it unlocked this pile here that wasn't there before. Basically gave us this broken gun and 2 gun parts. So I'm just going to start digging here. Now it takes 2 hours to get through a pile without a shovel. So I'll be back when she's finished, which will be about 1:30. Coming up to finishing the pile now, 1:10, a little less than 2 hours, wasn't it? So let's see what's in this one. Okay, meds and booze and bullets and teddy bears. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just run around, pick up all of the loose piles, put it in the fridge, and I'll be back when I'm finished doing that. Back at the fridge now, and we've dumped off the last of the piles, so the house is now completely clear. So we're at 3:54 a.m. It's only a 10-minute run to the exit, so we're fine. Alright, now we've got 12 pockets, we have to decide what we're going to take. Now, a trader does come, and we don't know exactly when he's going to come. It's usually day 3, but sometimes he can come early, as early as day 2, i.e. tomorrow. And if he comes, we need some things to trade, and right now we don't have a lot to trade in the house. So I'll usually take meds just in case he does come, because that's the 2 main tradable items, because you get that they're very valuable. You get a lot of good stuff from there. Now we want to take that back because we want Roman to be using it as a weapon. And as we saw, if we want to get 2 boards in, we need 1 stack of those, and we need 15 wood. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So that's exactly 2 boards, some tradables, and taking back our crowbar. The rest of it we'll have to leave. There is 1 med there, which is worthwhile. That's a full stack of meat there. And one thing to feed the household, we're likely to have enough meat, but if we want to make a meal, or rather 2 meals together, the most efficient way is to have 1 meat, 1 carrot. So that could be quite valuable later on. Cigarettes, not so much. Or those. Or those. These are quite valuable. They stack up to 4 though, so taking 2 is probably not a good idea. These we probably won't bother with. You can make bullets later in the game. Now these are going to be quite valuable, the parts. There's a full stack there. So we're going to want to come back for that for sure. And this is good for trading as well in terms of balancing items. And these are going to be quite valuable as well, gun parts, because at some point we're going to want to make a shovel. Sorry, not a shovel, an axe. And to make an axe you need 5 of these. Or is it 4? I can't remember, but that could be quite useful. And water stacks to 10. This is going to be quite valuable. So we're going to want to come back here, and we're definitely going to need these 4 things here. Gun not so much. And the booze not so much either. 2 bullets. You can use these for trade, but they're not as good as meds. So we're going to go there. And this is a place worth coming back to, which we will do. Alright, run to exit. So on to day 2. So a couple of questions. Were we raided? No, we weren't. I seem to remember that you can get raided on night 1 with this. And secondly, is he better? Yes, he is. So he's down from wounded to slightly wounded. So I'm going to get him bandaged up. Again, this is optional. You can take the risk that he either will not get worse or might get better by himself. But we have the bandages. We don't necessarily need to keep them. They're useful for trade, but rather not take that risk and get him to sleep. So he's going to sleep during the daytime, during the morning, and she's going to sleep in the afternoon. Now you need 5 hours sleep, so he went to bed at 7:20. So he will be good at about 12:20. You have to watch him here because actually I'll just get her busy first. Remember we brought a stack of components back and the wood back to get 2 of these in. So let's do that. There's the second one. And here's why we wanted to dig this pile and not this one here. Because if we didn't dig this pile, we'd have to be digging it now so we can get this board in. And then the other one's up there. So yeah, he's going to be losing his tired status around 12:20. Now, if people are wounded or sick, then they don't get up automatically. So we're going to have to watch the clock, and at 12:20 we get him up manually. If they're not wounded or sick, they get out of bed automatically. So you need to watch him. But 12:20 is a long way off. Alright, here's the second board. So the raids start weak and they get stronger over time. And it would take a while before Roman, because of his strength in guarding the house, it would take a while before the base raids were stronger than his defense. So we're expecting a raid tonight, night 2. But even without a weapon, I suspect Roman would be okay. So we could take the crowbar tonight, I think, especially with 2 boards in, because every board we put in adds to the house defense. And as we've already got Roman, then Roman plus 2 boards should easily hold up against any raid. So you see, if we wanted to upgrade further, we would need 5 parts. So we're quite a ways off from this. But meantime, I was just looking in here expecting to see a 3rd board, but I think what we have to do is clear this pile, and then the 3rd board will appear here. I think that's the way that works. 12:20, he should be losing his tired status. Yeah, let's get him up. So they need 5 hours sleep to lose their tired status. So she needs to get to bed by 3 p.m. because the day ends at 8. So as long as she's in bed before 3, She gets her 5 hours, and then she will lose her tired status by the end of the day. As we saw, he was 7:20, 12:20, the 5 hours. Yeah, I was momentarily confused not seeing that third board, because there are 3 windows to board out, but I don't think the other one appears until this is unblocked. Now, Romans should be better tomorrow. Okay, no guarantee, but if somebody's slightly wounded and they're not sick or something, bandage would mean that they will probably be better the next day. So that's the house done, apart from this pile down here, which isn't critical for anything. That's another bottle of pills. That's one of the most valuable things to be trading with. So if we just look at what we want to be doing, as mentioned before, 15 degrees is the cutoff. So anything lower than 15, you've got a greater probability of getting sick. So we want to get it to 15 if we can. So to do that, we're going to need one of these, and that's going to be 5 wood and 18 components. So that's 5 stacks of these and 3 stacks, so it's 5 and 3 if we wanted to get this in. So 13 isn't a lot lower than 15, so the risk is still quite low, but as mentioned, the lower you go below 15, the higher the probability of somebody getting sick. So 410. There's nothing we can make today. Nobody needs to sleep. He'll carry on doing this, so we can actually end the day there. So let's do that. All right, we've got a couple of new locations. Supermarket. So that's the looters. That's a safe site. That's one we can go to, run around, no problem. Nobody's going to shoot us or anything unless we shoot them first. Shelled school. Most of the collapses. So that's another safe site. We can run around, no problem. Homeless people. Again, they don't harm us as long as we don't harm them or try to steal from them. And there's only one opportunity to steal, well, a couple of opportunities to take things from them, but we're not going to do that because we don't need to. Ruined Villa, as we mentioned, that's a sneaky one, quite a nervy one. So we could go back here, but what we need to consider is that Franco didn't come on day 2, which I think is a possibility, but that he usually comes on day 3, so we're likely to see Franco tomorrow. So we're going to be trading. Now, if we go to this place here, Quiet House, it means stealing. So she's going to get home sad. Put her on scavenge, him on guard, so we don't forget. He's quite robust, so he'll be fine. Well, when I say robust, you don't want him to get hungry. And, well, firstly, he's robust in terms of if you go out, kill people, steal things, etc., he doesn't mind too much. But if you leave him to get hungry, or if he's sick and you don't give him meds, or if he's wounded and you don't bandage him up, he can be temperamental. And when he gets upset, he starts beating up other members in the household. And you can quickly lose runs because he can wound the other house members, and then morale gets hit, and then he gets even more frantic. And yeah, you get into this spiral where he basically destroys the entire house. So you have to be pretty careful with Roman. Now, the feeding schedule is that day 2 they're hungry, day 3 is the second day of hungry, day 4 is the first day of very hungry, day 5 is the second day of very hungry, and then day 6 they go to start starving. Now, you don't want anybody getting to starving, so what that means is that we'll be feeding her on day 5, which is her second day of very hungry. But we don't want him getting very hungry, because if we get another house member later on, then his resentment at being very hungry will still be there, and he's liable to start beating up the house. And you can avoid that by always feeding him on the second day of hungry. Basically, don't let him get very hungry. So he's going to eat on day 3, which is tomorrow, so we're going to need some food. Now that means either eating the raw food that we've got, or making a cooker, which is going to take up resources, or we need cans. And this is a good reason to go here, because we are going to get cans of food. As mentioned, she'll get back sad, so there is a morale cost. He won't mind usually. But we can recover from that with this map, especially because there are opportunities to do things where we get a content status afterwards, so we can deal with it quite quickly. Now, as far as preparation is concerned, this is another awkward one. We have 2 lockpick requirements there, so we could take the crowbar, but that reduces us to that we lose a pocket that way, or we could take the 2 lockpicks. Now we could probably buy one from Franco, so I'm always kind of torn in this situation what to do. Take this, you lose a pocket, and there's going to be more than we can carry from there, and it's going to be something valuable like a stack of parts or something. So if you take the 2 lockpicks, we have to buy those from Franco, which we can do. So I think it's 50-50 here. Now if you take the crowbar, Roman doesn't have it as a weapon tonight, but I think him and 2 boards, he's already strong enough that it's going to be a weak raid. There's going to be no damage or woundings, no loss or woundings. So I don't think it's critical that he has this for the weapon. It's just that extra pocket issue, and it's going to cost us a bit. So I'm going to go here. I'm not sure there is the right answer there, because the problem is the 2 locked. Well, let's just go there anyway. So let's go unlock those places immediately, because sometimes there's nothing valuable behind it. But sometimes there is, specifically electronic parts, because we wouldn't have had access to these 2 piles. So these things, and also the food. So you can lose food and these things particularly. And later in the game, whatever we do, we're going to need a full stack of these guys here. So it's probably worth bringing the lockpicks just to make sure that we're not in a position where we're taking less than a full stack of those electronic parts. And here's the other one. So if we only brought 1 lockpick, I'm guessing this is, well, yes, we would definitely have wanted to have used it there. So here, yeah, again, these things. Now we're stealing here private property. So we've already got the morale hit. So we may as well just keep stealing. And cigarette, worthless. The old couple don't do anything. There's no reason to fight with them. So as with the abandoned cottage, I'm gonna consolidate everything in one place. I'm gonna put it there. Let's just go pick up these 3 piles. There's usually very little here. These are non-stealing piles. So you could come here, grab these things, and also the 2 things out of there, which were non-stealing too. But you end up with not a lot out of this place. So that's the downstairs done. So without the lockpicks, we would not have that can of food. I think we're gonna find another one anyway, but 2's better than 1, of course. And this is the real value up here. Get all these meds. This clue here doesn't really do anything for us. So that's the upstairs done. Let's just consolidate it back here. Right mouse click again to move the entire stack. And final pile. All right. So here's our dilemma. What do we take and what do we leave behind? And it's worth noting this particular site, Quiet House, as mentioned, when we get back, Katia is going to have a sad status. Now, on previous testing, the way this works is if we were to come back the subsequent night, so it has to be the next night, then we can go around, we can visit this one consolidated pile, pick up more stuff, and we do not get another morale hit. But if we were to come back after the subsequent night, so for example, we've got night 2 now, so if we were to come back from on nights 4, 5, or any night thereafter, what we would find is that the old couple are no longer here, presumed dead, and we would get back and we would take another morale hit for, I guess, discovering that they had died or whatever. But that doesn't happen on the subsequent night. So we could come back tomorrow and the old couple would still be here, and we assume they're alive and well, but after that they would no longer be here and presumed dead, and we take a hard morale hit. So it means that we either don't come back, or if we do, we come back tomorrow. But then there isn't enough here for 2 visits, and there's the problem. So it's a question of what we take tonight. Now, meds, absolutely, just because the value in trading. So 7 meds, that's huge. Now the food, Franco, Roman has to eat tomorrow. And that's also going to feed him on day 5. And then it's just a question of what or where we can get Katia's meal on day 5. So we got a full stack of meat there, and we got 1 carrot. This is probably more valuable than the meat because carrots is going to be our issue. To make the most efficient way of cooking is 1 piece of meat and 1 carrot, and then you can make 2 meals there. So that's a consideration. Now we absolutely want this full stack here, and without the lockpicks we wouldn't have that full stack, because there's a lot of stuff we're going to be wanting to be making later where we're going to be short of these. So that's a yes. And then we've got 6 other pockets. Now the parts, we're going to have quite a high need of those for lots of things. So 2 full stacks, I think it's definitely worth it. Water, full stack of 10, I think that's worth it. So we're kind of ignoring the wood and the components. Now these 2 things here are good for trade, especially as balancing items. So that's an option. I think a full stack of meat. And here it's like, do we take the tradables or the carrot? This is all so-so. This is good later, but we don't need it right now. This is only 1. This is half a stack. Only 2 water, no. This is 3 short of a stack. Teddy bears you can use for trade, but not that valuable. I think 10 sugar is probably better than 2 teddy bears. So there's our choice. I'm gonna take the carrot, because then once we're cooking, because we're not going to be able to make our own carrots for a long time, and that could be quite useful, because that's an extra 2 days there, 2 days grace before we need to make a cooker, because mixed with 1 meat, that's 2 meals, and they only need to eat every other day later on in the game. So that's good insurance, and I'm guessing 10 of those is a balancing item for trade. And here's why we probably wouldn't come back, because why would we? You got 1, 2, 3, 4 full stacks, 5 full stacks, 6 full stacks, and that's all. So visiting other locations after this would be a lot more valuable. So that's it, 1 and done in this place, I think, and run to exit. I'm going to end the episode there, running quite long. Spent more time than usual trying to explain what I was doing and why, which is probably why we ran so long. But Anyway, we'll be back for I'll try and squeeze in days 3 through 5 in the next episode, or it will be days 3 and 4, depending on how long they run again. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you then. Bye.